The Dark Ages for all technologies. Our software technology has halted progress in all disciplines that use computers. This video will look at why I say this. I've been in software development for about 50 years, and I really haven't seen any software improvements in software. In hardware, yes. In software, no. And we'll look at exactly what I mean in this video. So we should look at progress. What is progress of anything in any discipline? First is to change. If it doesn't change, we have no progress. In our current software development systems, we cannot change our current applications. We can make minor modifications, but that's not progress. That's just fixing. None of our products are finished. None of our products are changing for the better. Probably would have to say that they're taking out more than they're putting in. And it's to make it better. So progress is to make things better. For a reason. Okay? One is less human involvement. If we can reduce the number of people that it takes to do accounting, that's for the better. That would be progress. We get better results. More accurate, more validation, more usefulness. We have less training. If we can eliminate documentation, experience, things that take up human involvement. Cost effectiveness, that would be an improvement, both in the construction of software or in any technology or in the use of a technology. Simplification, usefulness, trusted. If we can't trust it, that's not progress. Respected means that we enjoy and respect the work that our technologies provide. Secure, and it's needed. These are the things that we require for progress. So hardware progress. Here we've seen a lot of benefits to our computer hardware. It's been faster. Gets faster every year in one way or another. Smaller in size, so our CPUs are getting smaller. They're getting more complex, so they can do more within the same amount of space. We have more types of devices. We have higher resolution screens. They're getting cheaper. Fewer components. Lighter in weight. Lower voltage. So our software progress since 1776. Our software basically started in 1776 with Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, when he published his book. In there he described how we tear down a complex problem into opcodes. And Baron de Poney took his idea about 20 or 30 years later and created, using human computers, he broke his problem down to an opcode and two operators, which is what we do today. So that's why I jumped back to 1776. We were using human computers to run our programs. And he did that for 25 years. Babbage saw it, and he went to France, talked to the Baron, and came back and built his computers with the same concept. And then Ada Lovelace published her first program, which is exactly what we have today, an opcode and two operand. But progress since then, technological-wise, we don't have anything more. So why no progress in software? First is monopolies. Products that we don't own the information that we create. They lock it up in proprietary formats. Every company does this. So we have proprietary data structures. These are structures that some company says, oh, we'll put your information in here, but we will not give you access to it. So we don't have data sharing purely for this reason, or one of the reasons. I won't get into all the details, but we'll just cover the general idea here. And we have billions of isolated applications. So we have, again, no data sharing because they're all isolated. They're all proprietary data structures. So we can have no progress if none of these applications are finished. And then we have a land grab of all software basic logic units, which means that we have one operating system. So whoever builds the operating system controls everything. They control what devices you can use. They control your file systems. We have one browser for all of the internet and all of the data that we create. We only have one browser, and that is a land grab of our internet capabilities and our file system. Our data sharing, we really have none. We can I can give you something in Word, and if you have Word software product, you can open it, but nobody else can, and so on. So these are things that stop progress. Is it's your information, and you should be able to share it with yourself, and you can't even do that. Security, we really don't have any. We let other people do our security for us, and that's dangerous because we're not quite sure. Well, we see too many systems that are broken into even today after years and years of worrying about security. We can't solve it. We have client-server technologies. We only have one. We have that technology is TCP/IP, and we cannot change that. We have to use it. What I'm saying here is that these things are fixed. If we want progress, we can't do it in these areas, even though we'd love to. Fonts. We only have proprietary fonts. We only have one system for fonts, and fonts really controls every technology. It's our symbology and our way of, it's the way we display our reality on the screen, and fonts is one of the most major pieces of our technologies, and yet we have no control over it. We cannot fix it. We cannot use technologies that could greatly be improved with better font technologies. And characters, our character set, we have one. We basically have ASCII. I won't get into Unicode. Unicode is a separate application, and that is really, when I start looking at it, the characters are spread out all over the place. Who knows? There is no technology there. And our fonts and our character sets, we have case-sensitive text. We can't search it because it can't be searched as it is. Our numbers, we only have one CPU binary numbering system. It's base 2. If we can't change this, we can't improve technologies. Variable length numbers would be great, if nothing else, along with different bases and technologies that we can improve. We have to bend our logic down into these basic fundamental elements of logic, and we can't use it. And our logic is never finished. So we're keep waiting for better editors. They don't come. Our compilers are stagnant. We haven't had an improvement in our compiler in about 60 years. I guess Fortran, WAP4 Fortran or WAP2, whatever the first Fortran in 1952 or so. It's the same logic. Here, simplify assembler is all it did, and that's all we're doing now. Hardware access, we have none. We have no direct access to our hardware. This has stopped everybody from creating and doing anything with the hardware that we do have. And like I said, our compilers, we really only have one. They all look different. They're all, no matter which compiler you're talking about, they're simply hardware instructions, and we could do that with assembler. Executable formats, which are really designed for locking you into a particular operating system. They're non-shareable, they're non-transportable, they're very hardware dependent, very operating system dependent. And our bootstrap's the same way. Our editors are one-dimensional. What you see is what you get in our editor styles, so has no intelligence whatsoever. Can't do colors in all of our, in 90% of our editing, we have no color or underlining or bold or any of this stuff. And our logic is based upon all of these criteria. And then name value is our whole technology is a name and value. Name is really not of any use in our software. It was really designed as a place in assembler to give to a name to a memory address. And that's all it really is. It has no relationship to the value at all. And yet we seem to keep thinking that somehow it makes sense to put a name that means something about the value. And then in actuality it doesn't. Because all the compilers don't have access to the name, so it's only for human use. And all of our technologies through our monopolies remove anything of value. So if somebody has something of value, whoever it is not going to. So software controls all technologies, literally. We can't improve the basics, which is really we can't. Then we're just spinning our wheels. So we have no data sharing. Literally, we can't even share data with ourselves. Sciences, mathematics, physics, chemistry, music, and 1,000 other sciences and disciplines, they control this. We can't even put mathematics on the screen, much less take advantage of it to actually program with it, which in chemistry and everything else. We're using ASCII character set to try and describe these things, which is ridiculous. In medicine, we put tables out there of name value and hope to God somebody knows what they mean. Our companies are run by software. We're stagnant. Banking, our cars are being run by computers and they're getting hacked. Our rockets are blowing up. Our airplanes are falling out of the sky. We've been at this long enough. We should have fixed this, but we're not. Our phone systems, teaching is all controlled through our computer technologies. Transportation, our library systems, and a billion other applications that we build and try to access through our limited software technologies. So we're dead in the water. For how long is this going to last? Is everybody's touting that AI, artificial intelligence, is going to fix this? Well, just by putting a new name on it, I guess that's going to solve it. Oh, we'll be able to write new software, and it's going to be, and we'll call it AI, and that's going to change those basic fundamental logic modules that we have no control over. That I'd like to see. Are we going to be able to write our own operating systems, our own browsers, our own editors? No, not until they can produce more. We're saying, oh, create me something to draw on the screen, but is it going to be better, or is it just going to be your version of it? With maybe a qualifier to, well, make the lines red, make the lines blue, or whatever. That's not progress. At what cost? For one, if you go and we let monopolies control all knowledge and all logic, then look at the history of where we're at now. And for who? And who is this being done for? Is this being done for humanity, or is this done for the 3 or 4 companies? Our richest companies right now are software companies. And software does not cost anything when it's 70 or 80 years old, has no material cost, has no transportation cost. Where's the cost involved for the companies that create software? That's why they want to create something called artificial intelligence and tell you that it's going to solve your problems and reduce your cost. So our software failures is in our editors, black and white, case sensitive, one-dimensional, Same thing we had with a key punch. Character sets are obsolete, as a single purpose. Our number technology, our binary numbering system, which is probably causes us about, I would say 80% of our failures are because of our number technology. It's a fixed length binary structure of limited range. Depending on how many bits, that's how many digits you can get, period. When actually a number should be a technology, and it's not. It's an application. Our compilers, basically designed in 1952 or so, or before that, and which are simply, to me, are just simply easier ways to type in assembler code. And our hardware was designed 80 years ago when our first relays were used, or our tubes. The logic didn't change. We just made it. A change in technology of the hardware is great, but in software, it hadn't changed. From our very first computer to what we have today, it really hasn't changed. And our operating systems, we have one, and it DOS, basically, and IBM, TSO, and things like that. I mean, these are great technologies, but we have no control over them. We cannot change them. We need to be able to create our own operating systems. It's just an application to run other applications. It's that simple. And our file systems, which are useless. I don't know if anybody can find anything. It doesn't really work. We need to get rid of our file systems and go to a completely managed and functional information storage, and not what we have today. Our display technology, which is, I would say, 450 years, whatever you can put on the screen is what you get. There's no intelligence in there. The characters themselves know nothing. The words mean only what somebody can think they mean. And so we have software technology, which is simply isolated applications. And our document technology is basically the same thing we had with our display technology. When we write software, I like to think of it as a wine glass technology. We know exactly what we want done. We need this information. We need to know how many monitors or how to get things on and off disk. We're restricted in what we can do. We have to bend our logic. The logic, we know what to do. We know how to add numbers and do accounting and build cars and calculate stresses and do math equations, integrals and everything else. We just have to work with the limited character sets, no access to the screen so we can actually display these things. Have to go through device drivers, HTML, which is a proprietary structure that we can't use for anything else, and we only have one browser. We have a keyboard that was 170 years old. It was created 3 years after the Civil War in 1868. Our networks are there again, locked into someone else's logic, which we could use a whole heck of a lot easier if we could even access by the individual, not by programmers. I'm trying to get rid of programmers and our images and videos, and then we have our operating system that restricts us on what and where and how much and what size files and everything else, and the binary numbering systems, our hardware instruction set. And finally, our compilers that force us into terrible flow control, limited instructions, no units, and then finally my little application comes out after I have to bend my logic around and spend years trying to develop even one decent application. So that's it. Our shining star has kind of dwindled. We don't really have progress at all. And what happens is if we change this so we can actually improve all of our other technologies. I'm not too worried about our software technologies. I'm worried about the other technologies like mathematics and physics and teaching and banking and flight control systems, air traffic control systems. These things should be built in an afternoon, not man years of effort, basically because we cannot access our own hardware, our own information. We have no sharing. We need to fix all this. We need to create and have every user have the ability to modify those basic systems. The editors, the browsers, the operating systems build their own compilers, build their own, and in a few minutes, not this, be restricted by what monopolies have land grabbed for their own benefit. Well, thank you, and have a great one.